Okay, so right now I'm going to boot up my virtual server here. I'm going to connect to it, and I'm going to install the operating system that I selected on my physical hard disk. Um, so right quick, I just want to discuss a few things about Hyper-V Manager and all the different things that you can do. One of the best features of Hyper-V, and this is why in one of my earlier videos I said I'm not hosting any services off this physical server right here, because this is physically installed on a hard drive. These are just virtual. The only reason why I'm not going to try to run as many services off this other than just my backups is because of this feature right here. It's called snapshots. Basically, think of snapshots as a save file on a Game Boy, for example. What you can do is you can save a snapshot, and it'll basically save the current state that your virtual server is in, and it'll create a file for that, and it'll store it in the DC Exchange server folder that I created earlier. And if at any point when I'm installing another service on top of that, it screws everything up, I can revert back to a snapshot earlier that I had saved. So it'll save a whole bunch of like troubleshooting time. So if I accidentally screw something up when I'm installing Active Directory or the Exchange server, excuse me, I can just go back to a snapshot and, blow it all away, start fresh. So that's one thing that I absolutely love about Hyper-V. Um, Over here is our virtual network manager. This is where I can create a virtual NIC basically and assign each of the virtual servers a NIC card. So I still don't necessarily need to show how I'm going to do this quite yet. I'll do that later. We're not going to have to worry about this. This is a range of MAC addresses that can be assigned to the virtual NICs. Now, because it's virtual, it's not an actual written into a ROM chip Mac. It's still a virtual Mac, but I actually don't know how to apply these. So we're just going to leave that alone. But for right now, let me remove this because I just want to create a new one. So let's create a new virtual switch. In this virtual switch, there are 3 different types. And you can read right down here what it does. External is a virtual network that binds a physical network adapter so that the virtual machines can access a physical network. What that means is if I create an external virtual network or a virtual switch or NIC, I can attach this to my virtual machine and it will have internet access through the host machine. So the host operating system and the virtual machine will be using the same NIC to communicate. Internal is a virtual network that can only be used by the virtual machines that run on this physical computer, and it allows the virtual machines to connect directly to one another. This does not allow for connection to the physical network, so if I were only to create an internal network, none of my virtual machines would have internet connection. Only if I created an external switch, then it would have access to my physical network. The private, internal lets the host computer communicate with the virtual machines and the virtual machines to communicate with themselves as well. And private is only the virtual servers. The host operating system will not be able to communicate with the virtual server, so I wouldn't be able to do anything like map a network drive from one of the virtual servers or remote desktop connection to it. If you're wondering, this is cream soda, not beer. Cream soda, it's good stuff. Found at Myers, 4 bottles for like $4. Anyways, external add. So I'm gonna add a new virtual network. I'm gonna rename this. I don't want to take too much time here, so I'm gonna kind of speed through this. So I'm just gonna what do I want to name it? Okay, I'm gonna select what physical controller I want to use. And then you can just kind of read down here. You can pause it if you want to read it longer. So I'll just hit apply. That's fine. You can go back and pause it if you want to. Well, it's taking its sweet time, isn't it? Okay. Now that we're out of that, let's boot up our virtual server. So I'm going to right click, click connect. But before I do that, I'm going to create a snapshot. And you'll be able to see down here. Give it a second. All right, so now I can rename this. Pre-OS install. There we go. Now I have a snapshot. I can go back to it whenever I want. Here's our virtual machine. Go up here, click start. And we wait. Insufficient system resources exist to complete the requested service. Let's try that again. Okay, so it looks like I need to change the amount of memory it has. Dynamic, yes. So this means it can use as much RAM as it wants up to a certain point. So startup RAM, I'll give it 2 gigs. And if it needs to, it can go up to 4 gigs. Okay. Now let's try it. There we go. All right, and as you can see, it's basically like a brand new computer. This should look familiar from when we were installing an operating system. I mean, that's basically what we're doing. It's just it's a virtualized computer. And we wait. It's got to pull all the files off my hard drive here. Sorry. Sorry, this is taking a while. You can probably just skip forward until that comes up. Okay. And now we're just basically installing the operating system. If you guys want to, I can help you get connected to this server, and I can create another virtual server if you want to play around with it. So I want to do R2 data center full installation. Excuse me. Custom. And this is, remember that 127 gigabytes that I created in that earlier video? There it is. It sees it as it thinks the operating system thinks it's a physical hard drive, but it's just a virtual one. That's why virtuals are so cool. Next. And now we wait. I mean, it's pretty much that easy. You guys probably don't want to watch this. I mean, we're just sitting here and waiting for the OS to install. So I'll probably just cut this video off here, and then maybe tonight or tomorrow I will show you how to install Active Directory.